Good afternoon. We see that it is 4 o'clock and we'll officially call this special meeting to order. And Madam Clerk, in regards to public comment for the second item on the agenda, is there anything we need to address there? Do we have any public comment in any form?
Yes, there are 3 public comments that I put in your place for you to read. We could read them out loud, but the attorney said we didn't need to. It's up to you guys.
Does anyone have a desire other than on your own read these? Okay. Third item on the agenda is commentary from me in regards to the status of the town of Holden Beach in regards to the virus issues, and just for point of getting everybody on the same sheet of music, so to speak. The town of Sunset Beach has closed all of the accesses to the beach strand and has closed the beach strand since we last communicated. And of course, we all know that Oak Island has done the same thing. So our neighbors on the South Carolina line, Sunset Beach, is closed, Oak Island's closed, and then yesterday afternoon late, the mayor of Ocean Isle Beach informed me that she was fairly certain they were going to close the beach strand on Ocean Isle Beach.
Hang on a second. Heather, somebody just texted me and said there's nothing on Facebook.
Yeah, there is.
It's there.
Yeah, it's.
Is it there?
Yeah.
No. Sorry.
They can
Go ahead.
connect through our town. They could go right on the web page and then hit the button, the
For the
Facebook
town?
button, and it'll go right to the town one. They might not be on the right page.
Sorry.
She informed me that Ocean Isle Beach was going to take action this morning and close their beach strand and so forth. So Sunset, Ocean Isle, Oak Island, all 3 have closed the beach strand and all accesses. So, in communicating with you commissioners and per request, it certainly made sense for us to gather here today to consider any further information that any of you may have, or maybe some of the town officials might have, that would be helpful in us moving forward in dealing with this very unique situation. I am sure that all of you have received a lot of communication from residents, property owners, visitors, dignitaries, and many other sources of comments and ideas and suggestions. I do anticipate this continuation of this problem to be extended more than what we anticipated in the beginning. Ocean Isle Beach has extended this closing of the strand period through, I believe it's 2 weeks from today, is that correct? 14 days from, let's see,
Hang on, I'll check.
before I run my mouth too much.
Who'd you
I
say?
know
Who'd
that
you say,
the
Ocean Isle or?
Ocean Isle, 14 days from Monday. Today's Tuesday, right? So 14 days from yesterday. Is that right? It doesn't make any difference really, but I was just, it'd be nice.
The 20th or 21st.
All right, the 21st, and the day is the 7th, so 14 is 7 is
2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today, 21st, okay. And I believe Oak Island, does anybody recall what it would be less confusing to the public if we were all kind of using the same days. But anyway, assuming that they are the same dates, I guess we're here today to respond to so many requests, some of which were to close the bridge entirely, and we know the issues about that. And is our attorney on the line?
Right.
Yes, Mayor, I'm here.
Okay, thank you for your time and expertise today. So I anticipate today that we're going to have some ideas considering whether we should follow the lead of our neighbors. I know we've talked about it before, trying to consider all the aspects, reasons good and bad to do certain things. So as we move forward in trying to make a wise decision to move forward with our lawyer on the phone here to help us and guide us today, and knowing what our neighbors are doing, and not seeing anything in sight, near sight, that the governor is going to do. I had anticipated, thinking and hoping that today at 2 o'clock he might make an announcement of some kind. He did not. This morning at 11 o'clock in our emergency meeting with the other emergency people in our area on the phone, nothing uniquely different came out of that meeting this morning. So nothing this morning in that meeting, nothing from the governor at 2, and here we are at 4, and just seeking your guidance as your emergency director. I'm seeking your guidance as commissioners and lawyer and staff to help throw your thoughts and ideas on the table for consideration for us to move forward. So with that, I would ask that maybe Mr. Hewitt, if you got anything that you want to throw out before the commissioners take their turn, you have a broad view of what's going on.
Just that we've received a lot of feedback regarding closure of the public accesses and the inability of the public at large to access the beach, both the public being residents that are non-beachfront property owners and citizens that may be visiting from off the island, have had a lot of feedback regarding their inability to do that.
I'm wondering if Madam Clerk, can our audience hear Mr. Hewitt and what's being said clearly?
They should be able to. I've actually got the recording between the two of you guys, so
Okay.
you should be good.
All right. Chief, do you want to make us aware of anything?
Just some of the enforcement that we've done so far. I would have to pull the exact numbers, but we've written about 20 tickets for parking violations for the public parking areas. We've been monitoring that pretty good.
Mr. Evans, you got anything that's...
Nothing but contractors seem to be being responsible. There doesn't seem to be a lot of extra people on the jobs. There seem to be just having those folks over here that need to be working. I don't know what the extent of is what we're talking about, but I think that it could hinder our ability to have a fast economic recovery if we somehow inhibited construction, get through some of these precautions. But for the most part, that's really all I have.
All right. Commissioners, who wants to go first? Any comments?
Well, I mean, I'll go ahead and throw out some ideas and y'all can weigh in on them. I do think, number one, and somebody called me about this idea, as I'm sure they've emailed y'all. If people come down here to go to the beach, so if we close the beach strand down, that will make it a little less enticing for people to want to come here. And if the other beaches are closed down, they're gonna try to come here if they really wanna come to see the sand. So I think at a minimum, we need to shut down the beach strand. I know some of the public accesses, people have cut down the tape and just going right across, or going across the dunes, or going under people's houses, which I know we can't stop, but I know 2 or 3 of the accesses I've seen where they've just cut the tape down and gone on. So I think number one, we need to shut down the beach strand. Number two, I think at a minimum, we need to require decals. Everybody needs to have their decal. If you don't have a decal, you shouldn't be on the island. I don't know if we necessarily have to close the bridge down 24 hours a day. We may want to close the bridge down part of the day, or just do random checkpoints on the island and look. But I think in at a minimum, we need to make sure everybody's got decals on their car. And if they don't have a decal, then they need to leave the island. VRBO, y'all saw the email from Lou Cutterjar today about 300 VRBOs on the island. I think we need to either get to VRBO corporate and make them aware of the fact that the VRBOs are not allowed, or we need to get the list of who those homeowners are and email them, tell them that VRBOs aren't allowed, and then we're gonna fine them $1,000 if we catch them. But I think if we go ahead and just clamp down for the next 2 weeks, hopefully will get past this and it won't grow. But this weekend, there's gonna be a lot of cars trying to head down here, especially since the other beaches are closed. I mean, like New Hanover County, they've closed all their beaches, if I understand correctly. So I'll throw those ideas out there to get the discussion going.
Who wants to be next?
I'll go next. First, I want to thank you, because we all know that you have the authority to make these decisions without consulting with us. So the fact that we're involved in the discussion, I appreciate it, and I assume the other commissioners appreciate it as well.
Yep.
We've had a number of meetings, and we've discussed this, and we've taken a gradual increase on the restrictions, and we're trying to do this in a reasonable and a conscientious way. I get it. But when I go down this beach, we're not nearly as limited in the population now as we normally would be. There's twice as many people here now. I don't know whether they're property owners or whether they're friends of property owners. I had a note from a woman who complained of VRBO, and she said that it turned over twice. It turns out that the owner was telling his friends, we're not going to be using it, go, if you want to use it, go use it. So there were two loads of people coming. I'll just give you some statistics before I tell you what I want to do. On March 23rd, Holden Beach issued its state of emergency, no short-term rentals. On the 27th, Governor Cooper issued his order, which had people, they had to stay in place, right? You couldn't drive.
Stay home.
Stay home order, right? Every day, both the county and the state issue updates on the coronavirus and what's going on. And on 3/28, which is less than 2 weeks ago, there were 944 cases of coronavirus in the state, 4 deaths, and 12 cases in Brunswick County. On 4/4, so that was a Saturday, the very next Saturday, this past Saturday, it went from 944 cases to 2,402. From 4 deaths to 24 deaths, and Brunswick County went from 12 cases to 24 cases, so they doubled and had 1 death. Now, since Saturday, the latest numbers that were issued this morning, Brunswick County has 3,221 cases, an increase of 351 just from yesterday. They have 46 deaths. I saw when the governor was speaking this afternoon, he actually said there were 53. So there was an increase of 13. The United States has 377,000 cases with 11,816 deaths. Yesterday, there was an increase of 11,000, almost 9,000 cases and 1,534 deaths. And every time you turn on the news, everybody you listen to tells you that the next 2 weeks are going to be worse than anything that happened before. They also tell us that by the time you take what seems to be reasonable, you're too late. It's already, the numbers have already grown you're not even aware of. So, that being said, I understand that logistically we have a lot of problems with closing the bridge, but I don't think that we can let problems in logistics stop us from doing what I believe is necessary. We need to close the bridge, in my opinion, and not only close the bridge, but we have to keep even people who own property here from having access to the island from the moment we close that bridge. Because if we leave it open to all of the property owners, we're going to have, it's going to be like the season during this whole time of the coronavirus, and it defeats the whole purpose. Today, if you look at Mecklenburg County, Durham, and Wake County, those three counties have over 1,300 cases of coronavirus. So why, if you think reasonably about it, why would we feel any safer letting someone, a property owner who lives in North Carolina, in any of those counties, come here? They're just as liable to carry the virus with them. And believe me, these people aren't doing this intentionally. The facts are that they say 20 to 25 of the people who get the virus don't even have any symptoms during the time that they have the virus. So they have no idea that they're sick. They have no idea that they can bring contagion to us. But what they do is they're violating the order that the governor put in place. They should be staying home. They're supposed to stay in their residence, not go to another residence, not go where you're going to be more comfortable. So I don't have a problem enforcing and keeping those people from here because they don't have a right to be here. They own a home, but they don't have a right to be here at this time. The governor says stay home. And the governor says that applies to the people who live in North Carolina as well as the people who come into North Carolina from another state. Don't come, don't drive. It's as simple as that. And we wouldn't have to have this meeting today if people were doing what they were supposed to do. The only reason that we're having this meeting and the only reason we have to discuss making these decisions is because people do not listen and people are underestimating the problem and they're just not doing what they're supposed to do. So we have to do something to make sure that we protect the people who live here. That's all I have to say.
Who's next?
I'll go because I agree with Mike. I don't like the idea of keeping people from their properties, but they shouldn't be coming to their second home for no good reason. The only reason that you need to travel is if you're having to help a family member. At grocery store, pharmacy, medical things, there are legitimate businesses open that people are visiting to do their gardening, to do their home repair. Otherwise, if you need to go to somebody else's house, it's because you have a family member that needs help. And we have to make allowances for that. But otherwise, the people who are not here now should not be coming here. I am dreading Easter because it's not just going to be the property owners and their family unit that they live with that come here. They're going to have Johnny and Jimmy and Grandma and Grandpa, and we're going to end up, I'm afraid, with multiple sources for a lot of the houses because they're going to gather, even if they can't go on the beach. And I do not live in the world of wishful thinking. I don't think if we close the beach, people won't come because they can still sit on the porch and look at the ocean and get the soothing and everything. So I don't think closing the beach is going to keep second homeowners from coming here for the holiday and having some cases other family members come with their household. We now know that Brunswick County has community transfer. We cannot just say we have every incident tracks back to somebody traveling. So we have community transfer. Community transfer is only going to get worse if we let more people come in from particularly the high incidence counties. Wake County, Durham County, Mecklenburg County, where, by the way, the average age is under 40, okay? Our age on Holden Beach, average age is, I think, 63 by our latest count. I know because I was amazed I'm now over that. And I was kind of like, wow, first time in my life. But it's like you're letting the people come from an area that is perhaps more suited to get over the virus and come and bring it to people who are much less likely to get over the virus without complications. So I agree with Mike. I think that we have to close the bridge, and we have to monitor it so that people who are not already here cannot come. They cannot come. The people who are here, we have to make allowances for how they can go back and forth to the grocery store. It's our issue with, we can't isolate ourselves because we don't have a drugstore, we don't have a grocery store. But there are ways of doing that so that people who are already here can go off island for a short time to take care of their necessities and then come back on. But additional people who aren't already here, no.
Fran?
Is that even legal to do?
We're gonna have the attorney speak to our comments in just a minute.
You want me to address that now?
Say again?
Did you want me to address that now? Or
No,
do you
I
want
got
to get
two-
comments from all the commissioners?
Let's get the other two commissioners to speak, and then you can address what all you've
Okay.
heard.
Go ahead, Brian.
I wish we could snap our fingers and make it go away, but I don't guess it's gonna happen. Nobody wants anybody to get sick. I'm sitting here from the bottom of my heart saying that. I think that the decisions of some, just say, stupid people are forcing this hand. And I think there's a lot of people that I see day to day, my workers included, that are taking it serious. So closing the Strand, you know, everybody else has done it. We'd probably be dumb at this point not to consider that. Decals are available, correct? So people that do live here, work here daily, try to keep, you know, whatever. This is destroying a lot. So it's, you gotta get on with your day-to-day life though, man. If you wanna go shut yourself in a house, that's perfectly fine. And everybody on this island or anywhere in this country has the right to do that. And shut that door, call somebody when they need something, and we can do our best to help out our neighbors if we have to get through this, because this is tough. It sucks. But I think going to, I don't know what the consequences of that's going to be either way. You know, if we continue to we can ask people not to come, please stay at home. We don't want you here if you don't have to be here. The beach is closed, there's not going to be anything for you to do. God forbid, get a hold of VRBO and shut that down somehow. That's got to be able to be done. Even if we got to go after the homeowners that are doing it directly, if we can. So, I'm not up for the end of the world measures right now, but I mean, common sense with all of us and everybody listening to this has got to kick in at some point. I mean, you're not going to fix stupid. You're just not going to do it. There's going to be somebody paddling over here in a kayak. They're going to get it. But I don't have answers. I'm not playing Jesus, and I'm not attempting to. I've heard from just as many people that want to be able to go out there and walk down that big old wide beach that we have and not get within, they got common sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't get within 6, 10. There's 3 people out there. I sat on that beach for 20 minutes before I came to this meeting. And I looked both ways, and I saw 3 people. Now, I know the weekend probably going to be bad. I got a picture of it right here. And you know what Easter means, and you know what Easter is, and if you believe, it's pretty important. So, you're going to hurt a lot of people either way. You know, you're going to hurt a lot of people either way. It don't matter what we do.
That's right.
You'll destroy 1,000 construction workers on this island and a bunch of economic crisis I'm not even sure will come out from under. So, man, you got to think about that too. people can stay safe by staying in the house. And everybody's got the right to do that. Believe it or not, we don't need to be sitting in here. We taking it real serious sitting right here. But you'll probably make it through it if you stay home. And that's the voice of reason for me, for whoever wants to listen to it. And those that don't are gonna make the rest of us pay for it for a long time. Decals are simple to get. It would stop a lot of traffic. It's horrible to put these guys in that position. Close the beach. I mean, at this point, it's gotta be on the table, I guess. But if you're only limited to just a few people that live over here, I mean, I don't see how you can, it'll be okay for some and not for others, and I don't see how if you own property here, that you can tell them that they can't come to their house.
The governor has told them that.
The governor says stay at home where you're at, but you're gonna tell them that they can't come to their house at Holden Beach. And I don't know if you can, that's remains to be answered.
Mr. Brown?
Got any opinions?
Man, I think we've been all the way around, and, there hadn't been a board that I can ever remember has had to make choices like this. And just tearing everybody up. You see, either way we go, it's gonna hurt this one, it's gonna hurt that one, But I look real hard at it like this, brother. We get a lot of people coming in here, and this weekend's gonna prove it. Okay? All over the place, and they be asymptomatic.
Slide up a little bit. People saying they can't hear you.
We have a lot of folks coming in over the weekend, and they don't even know they're carrying the disease. Okay? And they come in. I hate to have to tell the man, got $1 million home, hey, bud, you can't come. You know what I'm saying? But, it's like we all trying to hash this thing out and come up with answers, and we've already heard about, would it be hard to do police-wise and all, but it really won't, okay? It can be done if it has to be done, okay? I mean, and I don't know, I mean, everybody else is taking it a step that we just close the beach. I mean, I feel for, because we in the squeeze here.
I don't know why people come to the beach if they can't get on the beach, especially, it's gonna stop, well,
Yeah, but here's the deal.
get the candy out of the candy.
Here's the deal. Here's the way that works. A lot of people come, they stay right there on the ocean front, and they hardly ever go out there on the beach because they got a pool in front of y'all. They'd rather be in that pool than they had in the ocean. You see that every day. You see? And I'm not here,
It's gonna be 60 degrees this weekend.
yeah, and I'm hearing every word you say,
Well,
And I really don't, I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I hear closing the bridge. You know what I'm saying? I hear let's close the beach first. But here's one thing that we can do. Some kind of way, we've got to figure out to get these renters out of here.
That's the thing.
That Verbo business there, I had a lady, I'll give you a little example. I had did a little repair in a bathroom for her. You know what I'm saying? Her daughter was going to come down and paint the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Well, apparently the mom and daughter wasn't communicating very well. She called me up, said, well, Mr. Brown, you called me not to be able to rent my house this week. I said, yo, stop right there. I said, you can't rent that house for basically the whole month. I said, just call the town to Holden Beach and ask them. Like the Verbo, they know the deal. The bulk of those homeowners. You don't get stupid and have $1 million home. You know what I'm saying? So they know what's going on. They're skirting. Because it's the cash. The dollars, you understand? Yeah, we gotta have them. But here's the other side of that. You get 2 people on this island sick. You get 2, you get 10 die. Then it's gonna be on our shoulders. And don't say it can't happen. Because it can happen here just as easily as anywhere. And come Easter, we're gonna be, you know, it's a tough call. It's tough, you know.
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
Mr. Hewitt?
I just wanted to point out that we've closed the public parking lots, and that has had, like I said, we've got a lot of feedback on that. But I would like to point out that the largest parking lot, the second largest parking lot, is privately owned, and that's the pier. Mr. Gilbass was extremely cooperative and reached out to the chief, and as a cooperative effort, we assisted in the securing of that parking lot. So that parking lot is not in operation as of now, and it hasn't been for the last few days. So that's turned off some draw to the beach also.
David, could you, it's my recollection that you asked a while back about how the town collects taxes from the VBRO. And I believe you had said that we monitor that and we do get the occupancy tax and so forth. So how can we use that to make sure that people aren't renting out the VBRO locations? I mean, just to go back, I understand what everybody says, and it's the toughest call you're going to have to make, but I think it would be easier to enforce the limitation of allowing people on the island than it is to try to figure out whether the people who are on the island are allowed to be here. Because that would take us, I think, going house to house, making inquiries on who the people are in there, whether they're the owners, whether they're friends. I don't think we have the manpower to do that. If we don't have the manpower to man the bridge, we certainly don't have the manpower to do that. Would you agree, Chief?
Well, I will make a comment on the VRBOs. We have actually reached out to try to figure out how this works. Basically, the website companies, the VRBO, the Airbnb, they do not take responsibility for blacking out homes at Holden Beach versus Ocean Isle or Oak Island or wherever. It is the individual homeowner's responsibility to take their listing off of that website. So it does have to be done through the individual, which I would agree, somebody made the comment that you don't get $1 million homes without having enough sense to 90% of these know, and they should be removing those listings.
I got you, but
To your point, it doesn't.
to the question about enforcement, would it be easier to enforce the closure of the bridge rather than trying to go to the various houses to make sure that the people were there legally?
Actually, I think the houses would be an easier approach.
Do.
Honestly, if you took it from a complaint-driven approach, where a homeowner calls and says, my neighbor...
Well, I'm not talking about complaint driven, because that's not going to accomplish what we're looking to accomplish.
But
And then that goes back to David then. How would we track
Your
those?
question about VRBO listings, the details of that tax collection is really a tax collector specific question, and I would hate to venture a guess on something that I'm not intimately familiar with. I don't know.
All right, but the tax collection, is that done at the end of the year, or do we,
It's done every month.
every month? But it wouldn't help us on a weekly basis. We couldn't identify somebody this week. We just know at the end of the month whether they're saying it was rented or not. Is that fair?
You had 3 questions there. The first one was, we collect it once a month. Will we know that on a weekly basis? No, is the answer to
Okay. So then, we wouldn't
know.
currently be able to ascertain whether it was being rented or not.
I
We'd
do
only
not
know at the
think
end of the
so.
month.
I do not think so.
But to, I think the point I made earlier, or somebody made, I mean, we could reach out, the tax collector, whoever's got the list of who these VRBOs are, plus you can go to the VRBO website and see all the places listed for Holden Beach.
Again, I do not know. I'm
Okay.
not sure. I'm not familiar with the details of that research.
My point is, we need to work that angle and see if there's a way to communicate with the owners of those 300 VRBOs. If we got an email address for them or something, and remind them if it's rented, we're gonna fine them. Scaring them will get 85% of it.
Maybe.
What's the fine? You rent the house now.
$1,000 maximum, as I understand it, if it's a Class 2 misdemeanor. And it's a Class 2 misdemeanor, isn't it? $1,000.
Class B.
Madam Attorney, would you like to address the board now, please?
Sure. So, let me make a couple of just general comments to begin with about all the commissioners' suggestions, and of course some of these things we've discussed before. Right off the top, I think I need to say that there aren't going to be any right answers here. This is sort of uncharted territory for all the towns that are dealing with these same issues, and everyone is taking similar but slightly different approaches to it. And just because some other town is doing something or not doing something doesn't mean that it's necessarily right or wrong for the town of Holden Beach. And so I think we need to sort of remember that whatever measures are implemented, they need to be tied to reasons that are specific to Holden Beach, and reasons that we can articulate. It seems like the powers that are authorized under a state of emergency are very broad for sure, but certainly not limitless. And so I would, of course, caution against some kind of nuclear response to what's been going on. As Commissioner Sullivan pointed out, we've been taking a graduated approach so far. Maybe we need to step it up, maybe we don't, but I think that is a good reasoned approach to take when implementing additional measures. It's kind of hard to jump to the end of the line, so to speak, without taking all the steps that get you there. But again, if in the mayor's determination the state of emergency requires that significant drastic measures need to be taken, then you can do that. But again, I think it needs to be based on articulated reasons for doing so. And when I'm listening to the different commissioners saying, I think this is what we should do or what we should not do, I'm sort of hearing a two-edged sword, right? We've got problems with enforcing orders that are already there, which may or may not work if they were being complied with, the stay-at-home order was being complied with, or if we had better or easier or more effective ways of enforcing the things that are already in place. So I guess there's sort of a trade-off that needs to be made between enforcement issues and how can we better allocate resources to enforce the things that are currently in place versus implementing new measures that may or may not work better, but also need to be enforced.
Excuse me,
So
Counselor,
I think the enforcement
Counselor.
is going to be really important regardless of what measures are taken.
Jennifer.
And so that's something that probably needs to be considered carefully before additional measures are considered to.
Jennifer, I think they're trying to stop you. Hang on one second.
I'm trying to stop you. I think I don't think, I know for myself, I don't need you to tell me what good policy is. What we asked you was a legal question. Can we close the bridge or can't we?
not belong to the town, such as that bridge. It's my understanding that belongs to the state highway system. That statute does not specifically authorize local governments to close those roads, and so there was some confusion in the law about that. And the statute was actually amended late 2019 to specifically include authorization for local government to be able to close roads that do not belong to the municipality. However, the statute requires that those authorities be included in the municipality's ordinances. And from what I've seen from Holden Beach, those additional provisions have not been implemented or included. And so the way the town's ordinances are written right now, you're still in that gray area where you probably can close the road, but it's not specifically authorized in your statute.
Thank you.
Hey Jennifer, this is Woody. How about to the question of preventing property owners from, certain property owners that are not here as of, let's say, tomorrow, from coming on the island? What's the legality of that?
Well, so I think that's one of those areas that in hindsight is going to be decided by the courts. That's not to say you can do it or you can't do it. Certainly other states and other localities are implementing measures like that. I believe I can read you the language from Sunset Beach if you don't have it. They're basically restricting the town to residents, property owners, and employees of essential businesses. Now, I don't believe that they've closed roads in order to enforce that, and I'm not sure what their enforcement measures are, but certain localities are definitely trying to do that. That doesn't really answer the legality question. I think when you apply restrictions to a group of people, you're inviting some challenges to it. I think that that's just going to be the nature of the beast, and I'm not sure how that'll get decided in the courts
Well,
with a state of emergency like we have that's unprecedented.
Jennifer,
Yes.
based on the fact that the governor has made the stay-at-home order and that the enforcement of the stay-at-home order authorizes local authority to enforce that, wouldn't that in and of itself justify us preventing people from coming onto the island?
Well, again, I think the issue is going to be where the rubber meets the road, because that's going to invite some discretion in determining whether people are violating the stay-at-home order or not. And so that certainly assists the town's argument in implementing a measure like that as being something that is reasonable for sure. But I'm not sure that it just gives you carte blanche to deny the people access to their property.
I'll take my chances.
Would the assistant town manager like to make any comments? I think everybody else has spoken to you.
Earlier, I was just gonna say the second sign that we were discussing last week, the information board will be here tomorrow, is what they've said, by about midday. So we should be able to have something, I'm assuming we'll place one on each side of the bridge, or best location. And I don't know what you guys are going to decide to do about the bridge, but I would just say that I'm not sure how those reimbursements would come back in what time or fashion for personnel.
I mean, let's go through this again. The best way to reduce risk is to not let anybody come onto the island other than people already here. The next risk reduction, best risk reduction, is you don't let anybody on the island who is not a property owner and their immediate family, their family unit, not their extended family, and you ask them when they come to quarantine themselves for 14 days. Which would mean we would basically be having almost like after a hurricane, when you let people back on or whatever, but you say everybody stay on their own property, and the only time you go off it, in this case, would be if you go to the grocery store or whatever. You cannot roam the island. Okay? Those are the two best risk reduction methods. Leaving the island open does not reduce risk. It is going to increase risk. It's going to increase risk. Fine, we can hunker down, and I'm personally, I would tell anybody, no matter what is happening, to hunker down as much as you can for the next 2 weeks. But the more influx we get, the more the people who service us, the Food Lion people, the Walgreens people, the Dollar Tree people, in Charlotte, all of the services that we have to use right now, the more the likelihood they get infected, the more the likelihood that we get larger community transmission. This side of 17, up and down from 211 down to the border, we're old. I mean, we're the retirement communities. We're the older people. They're the ones that are going to get it from the community transmission. It's just going to extend what Brunswick County is going to go through, and we do not have the hospitals, and we do not have the medical capability that Wake County has, that Mecklenburg County has, that Durham County has. The people who catch it there have a whole lot better chance of getting enough medical treatment compared to what's going to happen here if it takes off. So I simply think we need to close the bridge. I believe closing the bridge is the responsible thing so that the people in Wake County, Mecklenburg, they'll stay home because they know they can't get here. If it's property owners and their immediate families only and they have to quarantine, it helps, but they're still going to go get food. I mean, we can encourage them, you come, please bring all your own food and everything, but I doubt they're going to do it. So, you know, it's just, there's two levels of risk reduction. There's the one that who's here is here, and that's the way it's going to be for a couple weeks. And the other one is, you can come on if you are an owner and your immediate household, but then we expect you to stay on your property, and we do what we can to make sure people are staying on their properties. Those are meaningful risk reductions, both of them. Not closing the island, I think, is letting it loose in the county. Closing the beach, as I said, I don't live in the land of wishful thinking. People are going to come because it's nice to sit and smell the sea air, even if you don't go on the beach itself. It's a prettier place to gather. So just closing the beach, even patrolling it to keep people off the beach isn't going to keep people off the island, isn't going to keep people out of the Food Lion, out of the Walmart, out of the Walgreens, isn't going to keep our county from getting an acceleration of cases from transmission. And we
We've
could
heard from
close the
everybody
island.
except the mayor.
Yeah, well, and we could actually, as well, to make things a little bit more straightforward, do the bridge. I mean, people can leave at any time, but if we want to do an 8 to 8, that people can come back and forth from 8 in the morning until 8 at night, and that includes, to me, construction workers who have decals who work here. I don't think we need to shut down construction. The people who are servicing the island, who are doing it daily and are doing it under safe circumstances. I don't see a need to stop that. But that's another option, is that we have the bridge open for people coming onto the island from 8 in the morning to 8 at night. Anybody can leave at any time, but they can't come back on after 8 at night until 8 in the morning. I'm done.
everybody's looking at me, I guess I'll give you some ideas that have been offered to me by numerous people, not in order of importance, but, you know, I get calls from property owners that have their house rented for the summer and their house is not ready, and oh please don't ban me from coming to the beach. My house, I've got 2 weeks of work I got to do. And if I don't get that rental income, I'm gonna lose my house because I can't make the payments. You know, the list goes on and on with all kinds of special circumstances for each owner. I don't have a magic bullet or an idea to solve each and every issue. I think that it's fair to say that we are at the point that probably need to close the beach strand. The idea of restricting property owners to their property, we have unsuccessfully implemented that plan after some hurricanes in the past. People simply will not abide by that rule. They will go off their property, take their cameras, video the neighbor's property, go to the neighbor's property, do work for them. I mean, we've been through that. We've got a beach full of good property owners, but unfortunately, that has not worked in the past. Again, it's a case of a handful disobeying the requests and orders, and the whole group suffers from it. As far as closing the bridge, I'd like to hear from the police chief again on that. I have not found any other source of support for the police department. I don't know how the idea of the stickers getting completely passed out to everyone that feels they need one or want one. For example, the construction jobs, you have delivery trucks, you have service people, different company trucks. They're going to show up at the bridge. Landscapers drive one truck today, another truck tomorrow, another truck the next day, and then some supplies come in from wherever, and that truck's too big for them to drive. They don't have a license, so they send the materials. The list just goes on and on with those complications. I don't think we can get a sticker in everybody's hands with good intentions to get to the jobs. I just don't know how that would work. I guess I'd like an update from the police chief in regards to.
Can I go before Jeremy to outline?
Sure.
Just in general, the process that we have in place for decal access to the beach is one that's predicated on 2 decades of doing it for hurricanes. That process is in place and is fairly well entrenched, although it does have issues depending on how it's executed. It is not perfect, but it's not too awful bad. Currently, we just sent out the hurricane decals to property owners and residents. You should have received yours in the last month or so. What does not, is probably not in place, is the hurricane decals for contractors. Because normally we sell those up here, or they're able to pick up at the front window whenever a contractor wants to. Traditionally, they don't come get them until right before storm, until it's time to get them. We have not had that initiative for contractors to come in and get their stickers. So the contractors that do have stickers now are probably a very small fraction of that population that provides construction and services to Holden Beach. So that's going to be an issue. I just want to lay that out so you know where you stand right now with details.
So I've heard several different options for the bridge closure, and I guess that's my question is, what is a closure? Is it 24/7? Is it, allow open access 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.? So there's certain things like that we would need to discuss and work out. My ultimate question is, what would be the end result? Because I don't know where it is. If you have home, if you're saying that if you're here, you have to stay here and you can't leave, but you can leave and go to the grocery store, it's going to be impossible for us to differentiate between someone who went to the grocery store and someone who's driving in from Raleigh who's got the exact same sticker. I mean, honestly, that's going to be impossible. So I haven't figured that part out. So, I mean, I still would have a lot of questions. I would kind of need to know a direction that we were looking at going before. I have more questions than answers at this point, to be honest.
There's going to have to be a second indicator sticker of some sort that when a car leaves the island, because they've been there, they are able to leave the island because they have a secondary sticker that when they come back, it's seen that not only do they have the decal, but they have the secondary sticker that says you're allowed.
My question to that is, how is that distribution going to be made of a secondary sticker? What would you envision, how would you envision that process be in place?
Somebody leaves the island and they get a sticker.
Okay, how do they get that, Pat? There's a physical process and exchange that has to happen. There is a validation process that has to take place. There's an interface that's got to take place of staff that has to validate that they're legit on getting a second sticker, whatever that might be, whatever the token might be.
There's two ways of doing it. There's people leave the island and they get a sticker, or at some point there is a delivery to any house that has vehicles that they get 2 stickers. Because 2 stickers should be enough. I mean, we're not talking about the whole crew goes off someplace, because there's really, everything is shut down. You need to have people who can literally go to the grocery store, go to the drugstore, maybe go to Lowe's and bring back a bunch of mulch or something. But there's going to have to be a secondary sticker, and it's either going to have to be delivered to the houses where there are vehicles there after we implement, or there's going to have to be a recognition that we may give more than 2 out, but when somebody leaves the island for the first time and they're already here, that they get a sticker given to them that allows them back. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of is there's a secondary sticker. Otherwise anybody's going to be able to come in on the decal through this whole process.
Mr. Brown?
So, right now, all the other islands, all our neighbors, nobody has their bridge closed.
Nobody closes their bridge.
Okay.
Nobody does like Holden Beach does in a hurricane. It's if you can get back to the beach, you can get back to the beach at other beaches in Brunswick County. I'm not familiar with anything else.
And I've listened to everything, and I'm hearing everybody, okay? But it would seem each time we've done this thing in increments, okay? And, I think if we closed the beach, I think we ought to at least close the beach and enforce it. If that means us having to get some extra policemen for a day or two or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
and
enforce.
that's something visible that we can enforce. That's,
Yeah.
that's obvious, like the parking, things like that are visible.
And we're just opinions here, and let's see, I mean, because here's the deal. If we do that, to start, and we get inundated this weekend, okay? Because like we said, we got a couple of factors playing good for us, and that's the weather. It's not supposed to be all that pretty a weekend, okay? Is that what you told me, Murdoch?
It's gonna
Supposed
be
to be in
cold
the
the end of the
60s.
week.
Okay. And I really think, because if we'll do that, take another increment, take the steps that Ocean Isle, Sunset, and everybody's done, and let's see what that'll do, rather than something really, really drastic here, okay? And I've heard all the comments, you understand? And we're very fortunate, you know what I'm saying? And nobody's gotten sick yet, and, because, I mean, I don't wanna have to tell somebody, especially a property owner, that he, and by the governor's already told him he can't come. Okay, so it ain't, we ain't had nothing by saying anything on that issue. He's not supposed to be here. Okay? And really crack down, find out what we need to do on this Verbo deal as far as the renters go. And really, we're gonna have to crack down on them. And, get out here, if we've got to beat the pavement, beat the pavement. But I think we take steps. We get inundated, it's Saturday and Sunday. We have to come back Monday and say, well, we're gonna close it, then go that way. But to start with, rather than just jump in there and just, well, we're gonna close the bridge and go from here. I mean, I think prudence says, let's err on the side of caution here. That's just my opinion, and that, I'm only one vote. But that's where I'm going.
The only other suggestion I would make to that,
Yes,
as I said earlier, I think we ought to ask everybody to have the decals on their car.
yes.
And maybe we can do random checks, just set up a checkpoint on Ocean Boulevard and
Yeah.
tell people if they don't have a sticker, that they need to.
And ticket them.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
I would at least suggest,
But wait a second, you can't really do that because I have children who are grown, who have their own car, who don't necessarily have to have a sticker, right? They don't need a sticker, they don't get a sticker. But they're here, they're part of my family, what are you gonna give them a ticket for?
Well, I wouldn't
I
No, but I mean,
necessarily,
what?
I wouldn't necessarily advocate.
want to squash that so checking stations are authorized for chapter 20 violations.
Yeah.
A sticker has nothing to do with chapter 20, which is the motor vehicle code. So that's.
Can't do that.
I imagine the attorney's probably going to squash that too, but just to check for stickers is not authorized. When you see checking stations, they're for chapter 20 violations like DWI, driver's license, stuff like that. Check-
Madam Attorney, you want to address that?
Can someone say the question again? I couldn't quite hear.
Chief, you want?
Yes, we were talking about checking stations, traffic checking stations, and whether it's legal to set one up strictly for stickers, or whether they had to follow the chapter 20 guidelines for checking chapter 20 violations.
Well, you can sit on the side of the road.
I mean, obviously, I haven't had a chance to look into that, but typically my understanding is that checkpoints specifically have to address motor vehicle violations. But, I mean, again, I haven't looked into it, so that would be just my best guess.
But Jeremy, can't you sit on the side of the road and just spot them?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean,
You weren't talking about checkpoint.
no.
But again, it doesn't really serve any purpose because people would be allowed to be on the island who don't have a sticker. Your children, my children. Right? So what would you be checking for?
Well, if your children come on the island, you have extra stickers, right?
I have extra stickers,
Yep.
but it's like everything else.
Look, I'm just trying to find some
But,
options.
but what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
what we want to do is what's effective and actually accomplishes something. Just stopping a car because it doesn't have a sticker, if we're going to allow people to have their families with them, it doesn't accomplish anything, because those families don't need a sticker. We're not sending them a sticker in the mail, they don't need a sticker.
Okay.
I might have 4 of them, but that doesn't mean that, he's getting a sticker.
If we don't want to close the bridge, and I understand how difficult this is, and there is a plea to close the beach so that it's less attractive to come here, and we must then actually enforce that. And if that is as far as we can go, then I would actually ask that the town send a message to all of the owners that we can reach and lay the facts out to them that Brunswick County is at the point of having community transmission. You are not coming someplace that is free of this situation, and we ask you to please not come here if it is not absolutely necessary. If you are going to come here, please be ready to follow the governor's guidance as well as the county guidance,
Alright.
and to self-quarantine, because it at least is giving people a heads up that, we've got the situation here too. But I am still for closing the bridge, but if we're not going to close the bridge, and I understand the difficulty, I would still let the owners know what the facts are here in Brunswick County.
Governor issued a stay-at-home order.
Yes, the governor issued. Brunswick County has asked people to quarantine if they are coming from outside the county, not outside the state,
14
outside
days.
the county. We have community transmission here.
I'm
You
ready for
should not
somebody
be
to put a
traveling
motion on the
unless
board.
you have family members who need assistance. If you have to come here, we are telling you, you are coming someplace where there is the virus, and you need to then be ready to deal with it responsibly. And again, I'm not trying to skip, I don't know how many owners follow what is going on in Brunswick County. They probably follow what's going on in their county. But I don't know how Sunset Beach is trying to enforce or trying to get the message out, because they are saying that they are asking people not to come. Non-resident property owners are urged to only travel if deemed absolutely necessary. I don't know how they're reaching out to their non-resident property owners, but I think it's important that we do so.
I think that's a very difficult thing to enforce, whose interpretation.
Oh no, I'm just saying, I don't know how they're reaching out to let them know this message.
You can't enforce that 14 days.
No.
No, it can't be enforced,
No.
but if they, at least, this is what the county has, this is what the county guide, the governor's given, then the county's given.
But by definition, the people that you're going to try to address, to tell them to be good citizens, have already decided that they're not going to be good citizens because they're violating all the orders already. So asking them to follow another one is ludicrous. I would just say one thing, because I think everybody's ready to kind of go. We're talking about doing things gradually. And I think at some point we agree it may be, if not today, it could be Monday, as you said, or it could be that we're going to close the bridge. So I had suggested that we get a different color decal so that the police could identify the people, and I firmly believe we should limit it to the people that are here. Because if you allow people to come from all the other places that own property, we're just inviting more to come here. And I believe we have all the legal right in the world to do it. So I've already suggested that we get the decals that would be different. That hasn't been done yet. I would suggest that we ask the emergency management director to make that request, so that if that day does come, we can implement the plan without having to wait until, and having to go through this again about how we're gonna do it and what are we gonna use and where we're gonna get it. We'll have them, and we can issue them at that point if the day comes when it's determined that we're gonna do it.
Because this is the deal, everybody right now, you know, they're looking at toward the end of the month. You know, that this thing's gonna be better, and that's the unknown, we don't know. It may be that thing takes a turn, and it's worse than ever, you know. That's the unknown. We just don't know. And it's like everybody's got very good points here, you know. And you know, I mean, I think, you know, that before, you know, we ought to give closing the beach up, just follow the same deal what Sunsets do. You know, but enforce it. You know what I'm saying?
You put some pretty strong verbiage in there about what's coming next if people don't wise up and start listening.
And
to
if they
because
don't listen,
we're
put that
asking
verbiage there, look, we're
to
trying
do
to be nice here and have it put in such a way that if we can't get full participation, then the next step is to close the bridge.
I got it, but you know what that's gonna do? That's
Everybody's
going,
gonna
that's
run.
gonna make the people come
You know,
here
then don't
and say, I'm gonna get there
anything.
before they close that damn
You know.
bridge.
Yeah,
Right?
and
That's what
you
it's
know,
gonna do.
I mean, I've said all I can say,
Huh, but I mean,
and I hear.
I think another thing though is, and this is more for the VRBO and the situation, I think you should put the dollar value of what you can fine people. I mean, people don't look up what a class 2 misdemeanor means. And, you know, it's like, make it clear that we are not talking about $50 fines here. This is serious. And that we will fine people. I just think there needs to be some messaging that is actually appealing to people to follow the governor's rules for good reason and, you know, think about Brunswick County and what you might cause by coming here when you don't actually have to. These are 2 weeks that people should not be going places unless they absolutely have to.
Amen to that.
Anybody got anything else to say?
I'd like to ask one question, and it's a purple gorilla in the room. What does the board think about the boat ramp?
Well, I'll speak to that. The guy head of the fisheries department division, state of North Carolina, called me. Very well-spoken, very professional phone call. But he expressed his response to the many complaints that he has received about the tickets that the town were giving to the trucks and trailers of the boat owners that are using the boat ramp.
The commercial fishermen,
Sir?
commercial fishermen, was that put in there?
Well, the commercial fishermen are exempt
That's right.
from use of the boat ramp. But he has had phone calls and other communications about us ticketing trucks and cars and boat trailers that are parked near the boat ramp outside of the designated boat ramp user parking spaces. Currently, the town of Holden Beach, as you all know, we have a ban on parking in public spaces and rights of way. So the police department has been doing their job as directed. But I explained to him that we were within our rights to control our rights of way, and we recognize his division's right to control their designated parking spots. And we were happy to be popular enough to have more users than we have parking spaces controlled by the wildlife people. We need more ramps and we need more parking. But anyway, getting through that, he was hopeful that we would be more friendly to the boat users. I don't have an answer for that. We know other towns have closed their boat ramps, closed private boat ramps too, as I understand it. So, I don't know who's gonna stand down there and check the commercial fishing license to make sure that whoever uses the boat ramp has a commercial fishing license. If you want to close the boat ramp, that's what you gotta do. You gotta enforce it, because the commercial fishing license people have the right to use. We cannot ban them from using that boat ramp. Another little wrinkle in our plans, but, and then some of the boat people have communicated to me, all I want to do is drive across the bridge and put my boat in the water. It's just me and my wife. We're going to ride down the waterway. How does that hurt anybody at Holden Beach? We're not within 100 yards of anybody. What do you say? So that's part of what we're dealing with that. So I'm having great difficulty in closing the boat ramp, personally. In fact, right now I was out on a boat with some of those people.
Don't we all?
But if the day does come when the bridge is closed, that automatically closes the boat ramp. Unless the person is already on the island with a boat and a trout.
Depending on the stipulations we put on the closing.
Right.
All right, well, Madam Attorney, if you got anything else you want to add before I think I'm ready to say what I want to do, let you guys beat up on me. If you got anything?
No, I would just say that, whatever is decided, I think that it would be helpful to sort of put some measures in place for things that may be implemented in the future so that we're not caught on the back foot should more strict measures be put in place in the future.
I think I heard what you said. I'm not 100% sure I understand what it means. So would you say that
Well, I'm
again?
just saying that, if the bridge is not going to be closed today, but if that's still on the table for the future, I think it's important that the town staff and I and the board probably work to implement procedures at least that can be implemented more quickly in the future, as far as trying to figure out how to do a second sticker, a second permit, or start kicking those ideas around as far as executing it.
I don't know what the future holds. I'm scared to speculate or put trigger mechanisms on certain reactions, I guess, at this point in time. But I hear what you're saying, and I'm going to seek your guidance and participation in helping us script this that we're about to do and get it in proper order and get it disseminated as required. But did you want to say something?
Yeah, I thought what I heard, and it was actually a good point that Gerald meant, was maybe the thing is to just, we're going to see what this weekend brings, but we need to tentatively think we might need to get together on Monday, depending on what the weekend brings, and that would probably be the time, if we have to do it, to discuss some of these things that would be potential next steps. But certainly the idea of a second decal and getting it started, doesn't need to wait for that.
Before you do what you're going to do, David, do we have PPE for the staff?
We've got masks ordered. There are some gloves, but we have very few masks.
You guys don't have any masks?
Very, very few.
Do we have a delivery date?
End of the week. If the supply chain holds up.
Anybody else want to say anything? Otherwise, my feeling is that we will close the beach strand, all accesses and so forth in regards to the beach strand. And probably make that effective tomorrow afternoon. Unless you guys got another suggestion. And I agree with what's been said here about sending out communication with the intent of educating those impacted by the decision, letting them know what a Class 2 misdemeanor is and the maximum penalty of $1,000. And I also agree that in the communication, which is outside of the amended proclamation that we're going to put together here shortly, an email blast plus whatever other sources we deem necessary and worthwhile to get the information out. We will try to send some educational material in that email blast and any other way we can. But effectively, we're going to go ahead tomorrow afternoon and close the beach strand and make that 2 weeks out from yesterday, the 21st, to coincide with our neighbors. Not that we think that the neighbors are any smarter than we are or anything about dates, but I do think that in trying to keep the citizenry from getting dates confused from one island to another, let's keep them all together. And I fully expect that we will be considering alternative additional measures or deletions before that 2 weeks end, that 2 week period ends, so that we don't run right up to the last minute to make some more changes. The consideration of a meeting for Monday, I don't want to say we're going to have a meeting Monday yet. We might have to have a meeting before Monday. We might not meet until Tuesday, but we will go through proper channels to, and of course you guys know that you can call a meeting anytime you want. But my thought is we will react to information as it comes to us and react to actions that may impact us in what we need to do. So in summary, we will get some information, educating the people about what's taking place, and we'll also work with the town attorney to close the beach strand. And I hope that's not going to solve all of our problems, but I think it is the next step. And as you, Mr. Brown, and others have seemingly agreed that that is at least what we need to do today.
Does that mean you're gonna appeal to all of the private access owners to please close their accesses? Because there's
Let me
tremendous.
speak to that.
Yeah,
Mr. Hewitt, you want to speak to it first?
I do want to talk to it. Does it matter what accesses people use when they go down on the beach strand? When they're caught on the beach strand,
They violated.
they get a ticket, right, Chief?
Yes, sir. Don't matter.
So what we can control is the public access. what you are doing, just to make sure I understand this, is that the strand is being closed.
Correct.
And that has a definition on what the strand is. We can work with the attorney. That is the public trust area that's in, from the front of Boone out to the high tide mark. So regardless of how you get there,
Okay, so
if
the
you're caught
accesses
there,
don't have to be shut.
caught there, no, the
That's
public accesses need to be shut because that's what the town can do.
Well, they're already shut.
They're,
No,
they're,
a lot of
they
those-
gonna, they gonna be ratcheted down. Tony.
They've been
Say what?
cut, they've
A lot
been
of the things-
stopped.
Hold it, right, now, this upsets me.
Well, people have gone and just cut the tape.
This upsets me. Listen to what I said.
Okay.
They are closed.
That's right.
Because the tape's torn down,
I
doesn't make any difference. They are closed.
That's right.
So they broke the law when they
Broke
went
the
on.
law.
Well, I understand, but they've cut the tape so other people think it's open.
So, just so we understand.
We've got to keep our terminology and all right, so we, when we're talking to the public, we don't confuse them.
Yeah.
Just because tape's down doesn't mean that they're open.
And I'd like
They're
to
closed.
add one more thing, is that we're talking about land access to the beach. When the strand is closed, if somebody drives their boat up there and gets out, they're in violation. Because they are on the strand. That is the
And they're
intent.
operating their boat too close to the beach.
Well, yeah, true.
They're two violations.
But still, you can float a kayak over from Brick Landing. We're gonna see that kind of thing. We're gonna see that, just so that it is,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Just
very
trying to
clear.
let them know, brother.
When the strand's closed, it's closed.
Take the candy away from the baby, what do we do? Right.
That's right. We're taking the candy out of the window.
There you go.
Anybody got anything else?
How about the VRBOs?
Any kind of way, David, like with that VRBO,
We will look into that,
That,
for sure, that's,
that goes into the technique of how that's done, and the staff needs to work that. But I
Okay.
understand that that's the board's wish, and we'll,
And anyone that has been honest enough to report rental income prior to is already on our contact list.
You can pull them up. I mean, you can,
You
you
don't
don't
want to pull
VRBO, pull up all the houses.
Lou cut a jar, he sent a thing out and he said it was 300.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you'll know who they are.
Anybody got anything else? All righty. Acclamation or summary or any other means, we are adjourned.